Now here we are. This is a YBR 125 looking at this thing. And as you can see, it is a nice little bike. It's got a fairly loose chain, but I'm going to have to fix that soon. This is a 2010, I believe. And it's got a little over 10,000 kilometers on it. And it has been a great bike. I had to fix the seat because the seat was too soft for me. I wanted a really hard seat, and I put longer shocks off an XR 125 on it, and it makes a big difference. I was going to buy a longer suspension motorcycle because this thing was barely adequate for the rough roads around here. But with those shocks on it, it's better. Still not perfect. I'd like to have a 250, but they aren't really available. Plus, I'm not here long enough to really buy or something like that. I could buy a Honda. Honda's bringing them into the Philippines now. As you can see, it's a nice looking little machine. I like the old style look of it. The round headlight, the actually ordinary gauges, which to me look right. I put look at the tires getting wore out. I put one of these GV bags on it, or cases on the back, which makes for a nice thing. With that, and a good waterproof luggage carrier and my tank bag, I can go on trips in this thing all over the Philippines, and I do, and it's kind of fun. It's adequate for most traffic. It's not. You can't go on the national highway. Look at that, there's a motorcycle right there. It's going to the junk, going to the dump. Yeah. That little bike is moving along pretty good when you consider how much weight it's got on it. Of course, these things only weigh about 200 pounds. It's a great bike. It's a good looking machine. It's got a big tank. It's got a 12-liter tank, and it's good for almost 400 kilometers out of that one tank. The tires, as you can see, they're getting wore out, but that's part of the usage of a machine. And let's take it for a ride. We'll see if we can talk as we go along. Maybe I'll put my gloves on before I go anywhere, because I'm one of the few people in this country that actually wears gloves. But I've had my hands scarred up more than once from falls, and if I can avoid it, why not? Nothing coming up the road. All right. As you can see, this is a slight. That was me. This is a slight uphill, and I'm already in third. I'm doing like 40 kilometers an hour, and I'm not even pushing it up to 5,000 RPM. It's for a little 125 signal. It's actually quite grunty little motor. It's not especially fast. It supposedly goes to 9,000 RPM, and I can only do 7,500 in top, even downhill. So it'll barely do 100 kilometers an hour. But the YBR guys here, they all say that it's a gearing, and I'm sure it is. So I could change it, but I kind of like the grunt that this thing has. As you can see, I'm in top gear now. I've gone a slight upslide. I'm doing like 50 kilometers an hour, and if I give it gas, it starts picking up. It's got grunt on the bottom end. It doesn't have any on the top end. I think that's where the problem is. I know that you can get different things out of South America, actually, mostly. They have hotter cams and bigger pistons and that kind of stuff, and that would actually make it more powerful, but I think it changed the character of the motor so much that it wouldn't be as much fun to use. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. As you can see, these are cement roads, and they all have joints between them, and this fork in the front seems to handle it pretty good. Shocks in the back are okay. It's nothing spectacular. Little towns, all these people wandering around, There's nothing here, but they do it anyway. Vulcanizer, lots of flat tires in this country. See that woman there? She just waiting for me. Wouldn't even consider walking in front of a moving motorcycle. That's one of the things about this. Coming from Canada, where they have crosswalks, where you could lose your license for running over somebody in a crosswalk. Here, or any pedestrian for that matter, here pedestrians don't have the right of way. Vehicles do, bizarrely enough. Now, there is a chapel, a little church. Little kids way out here in the middle of nowhere. There's a cockfight there. And there's that guy's bike. He says, I'm going to go back to that cockfight. I want to see who's winning. Why anybody would be fascinated by chicken fights, I don't know. But they are. Anyway, the YBR 125. It's a great bike. It's got terrific brakes. Nice horn. Signal lights. See, look at here in the Philippines, you gotta watch out for dogs, chickens, pigs, carabao, everything. And bad roads. But here in Masbate, it's very pretty up here, as you can tell. I like it up here. It's well worth it. The brakes in this thing, this is a perfectly adequate bike, for a lot of things. I was thinking of a Baracco 175 because I wanted a little bigger motor. In some ways, I'm sorry I never got the more grunt. But in other ways, I like this because I didn't like the square headlight of the Baracco. I didn't like that it only had a 4-speed. I didn't like that it only had drum brakes instead of disc brakes. This thing has disc brakes. And a 5-speed tranny. And if you don't think that makes a difference, it does. The bike I had before was a Wave 110. And it had a 4-speed. But it also had disc brakes. But it was a Wave and it had like this much shock. And it was terrible on these roads. My butt got so sore riding out of the bike. Just riding it around that I finally gave it to my brother-in-law. And it still runs. I know this is a YBR 125, but the Wave 110 is a tough motor. Tough machine. You couldn't go wrong with it. And I rode that thing all over the Philippines too. But not in the comfort this thing has. And to my eyes, this thing's a very stylish little bike. And with those shocks in the back, it raises it up quite a bit. People think, some people think this is a bigger bike than it really is. If I was to stay here for any length of time, I would definitely buy a Honda 250 dual purpose bike. I got chickens, ducks, the vulcanizers. They're working like crazy here. Anyway, that's my YBR 125 road report. And as you can see, I'm happy with it. Now if I can turn this thing off. There we go. Hola. That is a pretty place. I'd love to go up there. I'd love to own that place. But for some reason it seems to be a government place. Here on the island of Masbate, up on the mountains, on the back road from Aroroy to Milagros, you can see way over there, there's cows over there. This is a cattle growing region. As you can see, look at how wide open it is. And there's tropical trees here, of course, but most of it is open. Because, quite frankly, it's reserved for cattle raising. Although you do get to spots there. I'm sure there's mangoes, jackfruit, and all sorts of jackfruit. I can see that. Oh, what those are. That looks like, what, a mango? No, that's jackfruit tree too. Oh, there's all sorts of weird trees I don't even know. Buko trees. There's a cattle growing region, Milagros Livestock Production Center. There we go. God is watching. Yeah, I come over here once and I saw these people dragging this bull. These little tiny horses they have here. The bull outweighed the horse by double anyway. Yet he still managed to drag it around. There's no accounting for cops. Pigs, turkeys, kids with slingshots, dogs, and all sorts of other things. They have power here. People sitting around selling gas. People, kids playing everywhere. And there's a guy over here. Sounds like he's got a jackhammer working. Oh, there we go. And he is digging up the approach. And there's kids down there. Well, actually not kids. Ladies out there who are doing the washing in the river. So quite frankly, even though these people are poor, they still try to keep clean. Which is understandable. We'll do that kind of stuff. Here they have livestock growing areas. You can see sorting pens. It must be exciting when they fill those things full of cows. Who knows, eh? How pretty this is. And it's a bit windy up here. You know something? I didn't bring my rain gear. It's a good thing those clouds are awfully high. There's a horse right over there. A young horse. Two of them. I was gonna say, horses are gregarious creatures. They don't like being by themselves. And I don't think I'm gonna go all the way to Milagros. I think I'll just go to the zigzag road and turn around and come back again. Slow down, men at work. Well, the road maintenance guys are working. Nice. What do you think is closer? Do you think it's closer to go back to that guy's got glasses on and a toque. He's only wearing a shirt. I wonder how he's handling the cold. People here don't even own jackets. Some of them. Some people do, but the vast majority of people do not own jackets. Okay, I've had enough. I think I'm going to turn around.